Channon, welcome to hashtag Mental Health Day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Channon, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, could you tell us about your journey up to this point?
Yeah, of course. So my journey has been, I guess, an interesting route to get to where I am today. So I originally trained as a primary school teacher and was teaching a lovely year one class when the COVID pandemic kind of hit. I moved with my class throughout that kind of time of COVID and learning online and phoning them up to see how they were. And I think I really seen the decline of their mental health and wellbeing at the age of 5 years old. And for me as a teacher, although I loved teaching, it kind of became pretty clear by the end of kind of 2021 that I really wanted to do more than just teach, that these children, although I loved teaching them, it was more around how can I help them with the mental health and wellbeing more in the kind of footprint and the shadow of the pandemic. So I retrained in children's mental health. I went on to train to be an education mental health practitioner for the NHS in England. And I was then able to have those kind of skills and knowledge to be able to support children with one-to-one interventions of low intensity CBT, working in the mental health support team in schools, which is an initiative that's been rolled out across the whole of the UK at the moment, to kind of really help children's mental health and wellbeing. From there, I very quickly learned that actually all the skills I was learning in my kind of children's mental health journey would have been so useful to know some of that information as a teacher, because I could have been able to help children a lot more closely in the classroom with all that new knowledge and tools and skills that I had that I didn't have as a teacher. It's not something that's included in teacher training, so kind of support around children's mental health and wellbeing, despite it being a very big part of a teaching role to support children with their emotional needs. It was very much, I've learnt all these skills, so how can I now give this back to the teaching community a bit more? And that's where Exciting Teacher was kind of created and founded, was out of a place of how can I bring together these two skill sets that I have in order to make a greater good of supporting children's kind of emotional literacy and emotional regulation development in everyday classroom environments. And to date, Exciting Teacher resources, teacher training, kind of videos, tools, strategies are being used all across the world, in classrooms, in homes to support children's mental health and wellbeing. And yeah, it's really kind of special what it's turned into. It was just a bit of a journey to get there. So it's nice to be able to give teachers those tools that I really needed as a teacher, but didn't have because I didn't have that knowledge.
Shannon, it's absolutely inspirational, your story. Can I ask you, with everything that's happening in the world, and of course we look at what's happening to our planet or to people, or indeed post, COVID or social media, what's concerning you most about the opportunity of us having good mental health?
Yeah, I think for me, coming from there is some really scary things that we are being exposed to every single day in kind of the news, across social media platforms. For me, coming from like a children's mental health and wellbeing perspective, I do really worry about what they're being exposed to as being much bigger than them. And so how can they then navigate that as a tiny, small person? And I think I've seen it in the work that I do, obviously in my NHS role, around children really worried about things like, we've got, the rise of seeing lots of flags on the streets of Britain, which is really scary because actually there's a lot of young people that, they are a part of this country as everybody else, but it can feel really kind of, distressing and isolating. And when you see things like that on the rise, as well as, issues around kind of people's perspectives on different cultures and the way that other people are kind of navigating things. I just think children have been exposed to so much. And yeah, that the impact of social media and just how much they see in the world is really scary, because actually when I was younger, I definitely wasn't exposed to that many things. And I grew up in the wake of, the internet and the rise of it's having a lot more media in our lives. But yeah, children have been exposed to so many things, and it is scary having to see them navigate not only the things that they would be normally navigating as a young child, but also taking on the burden of lots of other things happening in the world around them that's way beyond their control, that they can't navigate personally, but they're still having to take that on and kind of understand that and process that. That is, yeah, scary.
Well, listen, I want to talk to you more about your specific work and the resources, etc. Before we do, can I ask you, do you think that sort of world peace, community peace, peace in the workplace, peace in the school, peace at home, does that start with inner peace?
I think so. I think it comes from a place of feeling comfortable with who you are and feeling safe in who you are. And I think that that is something that we can really be fostering in children very young, in that sense of I feel safe, I belong here, I am calm, and I feel emotionally regulated in this environment, that can then map onto, much bigger issues as they get older and the more global landscape. I was thinking, I was watching a interview recently, or a podcast episode of Jordan from Rizzle Kicks, and he was talking about how all of the dysregulation that you see in the world, so all these bad things like, war-torn countries, views that are happening in this country around the rise of the flag, what the views that maybe Trump has on certain situations that's happening globally, all that kind of stuff, it comes from a place of dysregulated emotions. And actually, if people were able to regulate their emotions better and with ease in like everyday situations, it would never really get to that point of dysregulated behaviour, because people would think a lot more logically about things. So it's that real, it starts with finding that inner peace in who you are, that safety, that security, so that then those children can grow up to become part of a peaceful global community where we're a lot more understanding of other people. We have better empathy skills, higher resilience, and all those kinds of things. And that's going to bring about a lot more greater change. But it really does start with those small kind of skills that we need to give children every single day to get to that point. Otherwise, we're never going to get there.
That makes just complete sense. You explained that so wonderfully. Thank you. Okay, so look, finally, I want to ask you about your organisation. Just tell us how we can find you, what resources you have available. Tell us how it works, because it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. So Exciting Teacher is a platform, it's a hub, and it is subscription based. So people kind of come in and they access, as a result of joining, you get access to 900 and growing resources. So that's growing every single week in the hub. It is just a one-woman band. It's just me on this mission at the moment to kind of really bring about this change. But yeah, so people can access resources linked to all sorts of things to do with mental health and wellbeing for children. So things around anger, anxiety, low mood, navigating scary things in the news. There's lots of things available and tools and resources. Everything is grab and go. So you don't need to be an absolute mental health and wellbeing expert to be able to use these resources to support children. That's really important to me, that everything's accessible. And the idea is there, you print it off and you can get going to support the child with whatever need they have. And yeah, it's something that I'm really proud of, because I think it is making a genuine difference. It's just that, yeah, so all those resources are all about ending the stigma and increasing accessibility, because I think something that, the theme for World Mental Health Day this year is all around access to services. And I think that, often children perhaps aren't meeting, they don't quite need that, that intensive therapeutic support that I perhaps offer in my day job, as I say. But they need that ongoing daily kind of top up of those skills for emotional literacy and emotional regulation. So Exciting Teacher gives you all those tools that you could possibly ever need to support children. And yeah, it's there for people to use and to help where possible.
Well, Channon, Exciting Teacher. It's incredible. And I don't think it will stay just you for very long.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it will be growing anytime soon. It's just, yeah, it's that real journey and that labour of love to give back.
Yeah, well, and actually that's it. That's all you need. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. But we wish you the very best, Channon, with Exciting Teacher. It's been really lovely to speak to you, and happy Mental Health Day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.